We've got another one in our textbooks here in Escambia County, Florida, called Australopithecus afarensis, more commonly known as Lucy. Donald Johanson found Lucy in 1974, Hadar Valley, Ethiopia. He found these little bones and put it together. He found 40% of the skeleton. Lucy was about 3 feet tall. It was obviously a chimpanzee, a monkey of some kind. But they put Lucy's skull in the textbooks today as if it is half human, half ape. The head was too thoroughly crushed, they couldn't tell what they had for a head. Very few bones. All you need is a good imagination to make a missing link. But the big thing that triggered his imagination was Lucy's knee joint. He said the thigh bone angled off to the side. See, on a human, your lower leg comes up straight, and then the thigh bone angles off to the side because your hips are wider than your knees. On an ape, their upper and lower leg are in a straight line. And he said Lucy's knee is angled off to the side. That proves she's becoming a human. Well, in the first place, National Geographic labeled this one, which is actually the Hadar knee. It was found a year earlier, 70 meters, that's 200 feet lower in a different layer of rock, okay, and 1.5 miles away. This is not from Lucy, unless a train hit her going about 400 miles an hour. Okay? 5 times National Geographic labeled it Lucy's knee, and it's not even Lucy's knee. Tom Willis has a great article about Lucy Goes to College, about the real facts about Lucy's knee, and how Johansen has very conveniently just been real quiet about this. Okay? That's not Lucy's knee. But he said the angled femur proves she's becoming a human. Well, now hold on, Donald. Every monkey that climbs trees has an angled femur. It's ground-dwelling monkeys that have the straight femur. Angled femur might just mean a tree-climbing monkey. So that's not proof it's becoming a human. He said, well, you know, the bones are slightly bigger than a regular ape. Well, yeah, they were just a little bit bigger than a regular ape, but that doesn't prove anything. They found footprints in Laetoli, Africa. They said the form of the foot was exactly the same as ours. Footprints so very much like our own. This is in National Geographic. Here they found perfectly normal human footprints in the ash. Russell Tuttle from University of Chicago studied more than 70 people that habitually go barefoot. They walk barefoot all their life, and their foot gets wider. If you go barefoot all your life, your foot gets wider. Okay? He studied 70 people that go barefoot all their life, and he compared those footprints that they left to footprints left in the ash in Africa and could find no difference whatsoever. They were identical to people that go barefoot all their life. If the footprints were not known to be so old, we could readily conclude they were made by a member of our own genus, Homo. The expert on Australopithecines is probably Dr. Charles Ochsner, who did computer multivariate analysis of all of the bones. He said, folks, I'm sorry, after studying Lucy for 16 years, I'll say these Australopithecines are more different than apes and humans than the latter are from each other. They're not a missing link at all. They're just an unusual monkey. And there might be some still alive. What about the Peking man, named after Peking, China? They won't tell you that they also found 10 humans in the same area. They've got one in your textbooks now called Homo erectus. Kids are going to be taught about this tomorrow. They're going to be tested on it and quizzed on it. Homo erectus. originally known as Java man, then later Pithecanthropus erectus, meaning erect ape man, and now called Homo erectus. It's dated by the evolutionists at 500,000 years old. It was made from a few scraps of bone found in 1891 in Java, Indonesia. Dutch anatomist Dubose took an ape's skull cap, 3 human teeth, plus a thigh bone found a year later and 50 feet away from a human, and informed the world he had found the missing link. He hid the fact that he also found 2 normal human skulls in the same area. Did you know there's no such thing as prehistoric? That word was made up in the early 1900s after evolution became a popular theory. Go get some old dictionaries and look up the word prehistoric. I got a dictionary from 1766, and prehistoric was not in it. There was no such word. Got a dictionary from 1860. Guess what? Prehistoric was not there. If you could talk to the folks from the Civil War and say, what about prehistoric times? They would say, prehistoric, what is that? There's no such thing. There are things that are pre-flood, but that's not prehistoric. See, we have history right from day one. The Bible says, in the beginning. Dinosaur and human bones have been found together. Here's the stones from Ica, Peru, where they found people riding dinosaurs. Dr. Ball has a couple of the stones, so does Don Patton. You can get the website bible.ca/tracks in CA for Canada. If you want to see pictures of the Ica stones, or if you're going across Texas, stop and see some there at Glen Rose. They've got some on display there. Every known dinosaur is found depicted on these Ica stones. But in this town of Glen Rose, there's a river that runs through there called the Paluxy River. Back in 1908, the Paluxy flooded, which is nothing unusual. It's the second to the fastest moving river in Texas. It dropped 17 feet per mile. To put that in perspective, the Mississippi drops 8 inches per mile. The Paluxy drops 17 feet per mile. Rapidly moving river when it rains. When it quits raining, it dries up. If you go in August, oftentimes rivers bone dry, August or September. Not always, but check call before you go. But in 1908, the river flooded. The whole area is limestone layers. The flood went through town 27 feet above flood stage. It went through so fast, it ripped off the bottom of the river. 2 feet of solid limestone was ripped off and moved downstream, exposing another layer of limestone underneath. In that new layer of limestone, they found hundreds and hundreds of dinosaur footprints. There were so many dinosaur footprints, they made a state park. Still there today, Dinosaur Valley State Park. During the 1930s, they sent people down there to chisel out the footprints. So one of the work projects to keep people working, and the socialist projects they started here in America as we slowly became communist. They found human footprints with the dinosaur footprints. Now, I've read all the controversy back and forth on both sides of this issue, and I've been there myself and studied it. They're really legitimate. One of the good human tracks, as it wore down, grew 2 toes and became a 3-toed dinosaur print. They even found a petrified hammer